Did you know that most serial killers were born in the sign of Aquarius? Also, did you know that most serial killers have moon in Pisces and least have moon in Sagittarius? Or that most serial killers, regardless of their sun sign, have Mars in Virgo? We all know that most serial killers come from the USA, but do you know which countries are in the second and third place? Keep watching to learn all the fascinating data about astrology and serial killers. But first, what is astrological profiling? It is a form of understanding criminal behavior by comparing natal charts and criminal cases. We do this to try to understand, detect, and prevent criminal behavior in the future. In the same way, profilers have collected data from criminal cases and found similarities in the background, lifestyle, childhood of the perpetrators, as well as in victimology, pre-offense and post-offense behavior, and the crime scene itself, and classified crime into many different categories so that it would be easier for a criminal profiler to create a criminal profile of the unsub or the unknown subject and aid in the arrest of the perpetrator. We do the same just by adding natal charts into equation. Simply put, if astrology can tell us so much about ordinary normal motivations and behavior, it can also shed light on criminal behavior. Please note that every sign has its high and low vibrations, positive and negative sides. It's possible that someone falls more in the negative spectrum of that sign than the positive. Second, having a personality disorder doesn't override astrology. They'll still have their personality traits, character, fears and hopes, reactions and motivations that are unique to them. Are people with, say, borderline personality disorder who are not killers? Are there clones who all behave in exactly the same way? No, they're not. They're as different from one another as anybody else. They have different interests and different motivations. Third, serial killers are not Disney villains who are one-dimensional, ugly people with evil laughs. They're humans who usually don't look nor behave like Disney villains. They have different motivations, different reasons, and different reactions. Serial killers are not a different subspecies that we can't understand. If astrology applies to everyone else, regardless of their pathology and disorders, it applies to serial killers as well. In this video, I'll show you the combined statistics for all the 12 signs. If you want to learn about a specific sign, find the link in the description box. Links to all the individual signs will be listed there. Those videos also have the information on the most prolific female and male killers for that sign, youngest born, most infamous, and something we call astro twins or astrological twins, which are the killers who were born on the same day of the same year but have nothing to do with one another and are often from different countries. It's super interesting and definitely worth checking out. So why did I choose to classify serial killers and not other types of criminals? First, because I wanted to focus on the murders so that we can better understand why people kill each other in the first place. Serial killers kill multiple times, which clearly tells that they wanted to do it as opposed to doing it accidentally or in self-defense. One can kill someone by accident or in self-defense once, but 3 times? I don't think so. The formal classification says that in order to be classified as a serial killer, one must kill at least 3 people on separate occasions, which may be days, weeks, months, or even years apart. This has recently been lowered to 2 murders, but I go with the original 3 because it shows greater intent. Simply put, there is a chance that someone kills in self-defense in their 20s and then again by accident in their 60s, like if, say, someone attacked them in their 20s and they accidentally hit another person with their car in their 60s. If they kill 3 people, the chances of the perpetrator having no intention to kill are drastically lowered. And here we're trying to understand the intention behind the killings, which can later be of great help in understanding what drives people to kill. For that reason, I'm not concentrating on mass murderers unless they're also serial killers. There is a great difference in motives between these two, so I plan to eventually expand to mass murderers as well. But for now, let's stick to the serial killers and their crimes. I've compiled a list of a total of 1,079 serial killers from all around the globe so that our investigation is not affected by cultural, racial, or religious factors. But before we start the investigation, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also turn on that notification bell so you never miss out on new videos. Let's start off by seeing how many serial killers were born in each sun sign. At the bottom of the list, we have Taurus with only 79 serial killers. Higher up, in ninth place, there are Sagittarius sun signs with 82 killers. In the eighth place, we have two signs, Cancer and Libra, with 83 killers each. Further up, there are 84 Aries serial killers. In the sixth place, we have Gemini with 85 killers. The middle, that is the fifth place, is reserved for the sign of Leo with 86 serial killers. Fourth is shared by two sun signs, Virgo and Scorpio, with 92 killers each. And now brace yourself for the top three sun signs. In third place, there is Capricorn with 93 serial killers. The second place is held by Pisces serial killers, 107 of them. Finally, in the first place, with a whopping 113 serial killers, is Aquarius Sun. As you can see, the difference between most serial killers is one or two, which can easily be tipped over in favor of another sign when new serial killers get discovered or birthday data on the existing ones gets available. You should know that my list contains only serial killers whose date of birth data is available. Now, while the rest of the sun sign data can be changed relatively easily, with the new data for one or two killers, in the case of Pisces and Aquarius killers, it's far more difficult, as it would require the third and fourth place signs to go up by at least 15 or 16, which is a lot, so I don't expect these two signs to be dethroned anytime soon. Now, how about the ranking of the moon signs? Quick note, moon changes sign approximately every 2.5 days. Because we don't have the exact time of birth data for the majority of killers, there are those who were born on the days when moon changed from one sign to another, so moon calculations are always divided in two parts. Further analysis will tell us which of the two signs is more likely to be correct, but for now we'll leave it at that. So first we'll rank known moon signs and then we'll rank the rest. In the last 11th place, there are 44 serial killers who have moon Sagittarius. This is not that different from sun signs, where Sagittarius was next to last. However, the sign in the 10th place may come off as a surprise to many. It's Aquarius, the sign that holds the first place among the sun signs. 9th place is shared between Gemini and Libra moons, 51 each. Next one up is a Virgo moon with 52 serial killers. In the 7th place, we have Leo with 53 killers. Cancer moon holds the 6th place with 54 killers. One above, in the 5th place, is Scorpio moon with 55 killers. As you can see, there is no great difference in the number of Cancer moons and Scorpio moons. In the 4th place is Taurus moon with 58 killers. And now we come to the first three moons. In the 3rd place is Aries with 59 killers. The 2nd place is held by the moon in Capricorn with 61 killers. And finally, the 1st place belongs to Pisces moon with 68 killers. This is actually similar to the sun ranking where Pisces was in the 2nd place. And now for the second part of the moon rankings. The least amount of serial killers were born on the days when moon changed from Cancer to Leo, 28 of them. Next up is Leo Virgo with 30 killers. In the 7th place are these moon combinations, Libra Scorpio, Scorpio Sagittarius, and Taurus Gemini with 32 each. In the 6th place is Aquarius Pisces with 33 killers. In the 5th place, we have Pisces Aries with 34 killers, and the 4th place is shared by Capricorn Aquarius and Virgo Libra with 35 killers each. In the 3rd place, we have Sagittarius Capricorn with 39 serial killers. The 2nd place is held by Gemini Cancer with 45 killers, and finally, in the 1st place, most serial killers were born on the days when moon changed from Aries to Taurus, 49 of them. Sure thing, further analysis of the cases of these killers can significantly shake up the first moon sign ranking, but we'll see how much and in what direction. Now let's see what's going on with Mercury signs. And by the way, don't forget to watch videos on individual signs if you want to know more about this topic. Did you know that Mercury can only be in 3 signs? The sun sign of the native, one previous, and one subsequent sign. For example, a Gemini sun can have Mercury in either Taurus, Gemini, or Cancer. In the last 10th place, we have Leo Mercury with 74 killers. In the 9th place, we have Gemini with 75 killers. The 8th place is shared by Aries, Cancer, and Taurus with 76 killers each. Virgo Mercury is in the 7th place with more than 80 killers, 86 of them. Higher up in the 6th place is Scorpio Mercury with 91 killers. In the middle, we have Libra Mercury with 95 killers. The 4th place is occupied by 100 Sagittarius Mercuries. In the 3rd place, we have 101 Pisces Mercuries. And now for the final two. In the 2nd place, there are 111 killers with Capricorn Mercury. And finally, like in the case of sun signs, The first place belongs to Aquarius Mercury with 118 killers. Venus is similar to Mercury in that one sun sign can have all 12 Venus signs. This is another fast-moving planet, so a native can only have 5 options: to have Venus in the same sign as their sun, into previous or into subsequent signs. In the last 10th place is Sagittarius Venus with 66 killers. Next up are Gemini and Leo with 69 serial killers each. In the 8th place is Libra with 70 killers. 7th place belongs to Taurus Venus with 81 killers. Next one up in the 6th place is Pisces with 85 killers. The middle is reserved for 87 Capricorn Venus killers. The 4th place is shared between 2 signs, and this is the first time Venus has more than 100 killers. Those are Cancer and Scorpio Venus with 101 killers each. While this is a somewhat expected position for Scorpio Venus, though I believe some would expect it to be even higher up among the first 3, does Cancer Venus being in the 4th place surprise you? Well, let's see which signs are in the first 3 places. In the 3rd place, we have Aries Venus with 113 killers. In the 2nd place, there are 116 killers who have their Venus in Virgo. And finally, in the 1st place, again, Aquarius with a whopping 121 killers. This is somewhat to be expected because most of them were born in the sign of Aquarius, and since Mercury and Venus can be only in a limited number of signs, it is to be expected that most have these 2 planets in the same sign as their sun sign. But let's see how the sign of Aquarius stands against all the Mars signs. Okay, so here comes a surprise. In the last 10th place, there are 73 Aquarius Mars killers. One up is shared by Aries and Taurus with 74 killers each. 8th place is Libra with 80, and in the 7th place is Pisces with 82 killers. Capricorn Mars is in the 6th place with 85 killers. In the middle, we have Gemini Mars with 89 killers. The 4th place is shared between Sagittarius and Scorpio with 96 killers each. And now for the top 3. In the 3rd place, we have Leo with 107 killers. In the 2nd place is Cancer Mars with 110 serial killers. And finally, in the 1st place is Virgo Mars with 113 killers. So what are your thoughts on these rankings? Did anything come off as a surprise? Comment down below. Now let's go to something that I usually mention in the beginning of the videos, and that is the number of male and female killers. You can check this information for individual signs in the videos about those signs, and you can find the links to those videos in the description box. You already know that my current list contains the names of 179 serial killers. Now, as expected, most of them are male. Generally speaking, most perpetrators are male, regardless of whether they're killers, robbers, mass murderers, or whatnot. However, it doesn't mean that women are incapable of committing crimes. Every sign has a certain number of female killers, and there hasn't been a sun sign with no female killers at all. The number of these killers is always significantly lower than the number of male killers, but it doesn't make them any less deadly than their male counterparts. So out of the 179 serial killers, 95 are female, while 984 are male. Quite a difference in numbers, isn't it? Well, as I've just said, it's to be expected. As for the centuries they were born in, I'm taking into account only those who were born in the 19th and 20th centuries. I still don't have the data for any serial killer born in the 21st century, but it doesn't mean it won't resurface one day. Because unfortunately, people will not stop killing each other anytime soon. As for the killers born in the 18th and all the previous centuries, though they definitely did exist, it's difficult to trace all or majority of them and classify them accordingly. So when it comes to 19th century, there are 28 female killers and also 59 males, while 67 female and 925 male serial killers were born in the 20th century. Isn't it interesting that there is no significant disparity in male and female killers in the 19th century, unlike those born in the 20th century? Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Well, all this means is that a total of 87 serial killers were born in the 19th and 1992 in the 20th century. As for the countries, we'll now rank how many serial killers, regardless of the sign, comes from which country. Please note that this is not a definite number of all the serial killers in the world. As you already know, my list contains serial killers whose date of birth data is available. Those with only birth year available didn't make it onto the list. This does mean that there are many more serial killers out there, so if you know that there are serial killers, or at least one serial killer from your country that aren't mentioned in any of my videos, it's probably because their full date of birth data is not available. You can always comment your country and I'll let you know which serial killer is from there. You can also comment the name of a serial killer from your country to check if they're on the list. In this way, you'll also be helping me discover killers with available date of birth who maybe didn't find their way onto the list either because their full date of birth wasn't available at the time I made a list, which was in 2023, or because new serial killers have been discovered since. So without further ado, let's jump right into ranking the countries by the number of serial killers. At the bottom, that is in the 21st place, there are countries that have one serial killer. These countries are Bosnia and Herzegovina, Croatia, Ecuador, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kenya, New Zealand, Norway, Paraguay, Peru, Taiwan, Uruguay, Uzbekistan, Venezuela, and Vietnam. Having one or just a few serial killers doesn't mean that they are somehow less deadly or that their victim count is lower, as we'll see later on. But it's definitely better to have less than more. And I believe that you already know which country is in the first place, but more on that later. In the 20th place are the countries with 2 serial killers each. By the way, I'll be posting shorts or reels for you who are following me on Instagram with the names of the serial killers from different countries so you can check it out. Okay, so the countries with 2 killers each are Switzerland, Slovenia, Slovakia, Panama, Latvia, India, and Bolivia. Don't be surprised by only 2 serial killers coming from India, because those are the ones that, as we've already established, have available date of birth data. In the 19th place, with 3 serial killers per country, are Turkey, Thailand, Denmark, and Belarus. In the 18th place, with 4 serial killers, are Sweden, Romania, Chile, and Argentina. In the 17th place, with 5 killers each, are Indonesia, Finland, and Estonia. Next up are Netherlands, Mexico, Hungary, and Austria, with 6 serial killers per country. In the 15th place, there are Ukraine, South Korea, and South Africa, with 7 killers. I know that there is info going around saying that South Africa is the 3rd country with most serial killers in the world. I can't tell you if that's true or not, because a different type of research should be conducted, one that doesn't involve astrology, obviously. However, we must also have in mind that any research should encompass all the countries in the world and not only English-speaking and or more talked about countries like Russia. So back to our rankings. In the 14th place is Colombia with 8 serial killers. While Colombia has much lower number of serial killers, they're nevertheless some of the most prolific ones in the world, that they're not as infamous as those coming from the USA, Canada, UK, and even Russia. And I'm talking about Chikatilo here. Just take, for example, Luis Garavito with 147 victims, or Pedro Lopez with 110 to 350 victims. In 13th place is Belgium with 9 killers. Next up is Spain with 11 killers. In the 11th place are the Czech Republic and Brazil with 14 serial killers. And now for the first 10 places. Yes, there are many countries in the world and a lot of serial killers, so this ranking has 21 places. Well, in the 10th place are Poland and Italy with 15 serial killers each. In the 9th place there is China with 19 killers. Canada is in the 8th place with 21 killers. Australia is in the 7th place with 22 killers. In the 6th place is Japan with 29 serial killers. France holds the 5th place with 38 serial killers. The 4th place belongs to Germany with 41 killers. 48 serial killers are the 3rd highest number, and they come from the UK. In the 2nd place, no surprise, is Russia with 96 serial killers. And finally, with the unprecedented number of serial killers, a whopping 562, is the USA. Why does the USA have significantly higher number of serial killers comparing to other countries in the world? Did you know that a total of 517 killers come from all around the countries combined? The USA still has more serial killers than the rest of the world. This is definitely mind-blowing. In subsequent videos, I'll be comparing serial killers who have the same sun-moon combination to see if we can find similarities between their childhoods, adult lives, education, personality traits, interpersonal relationships, victimology, crime scene details, modus operandi motivations, and much more. Stay tuned for more astrological profiling videos.